Hi everyone, it's Nicole. So I sat down at my desk to get this started today, and this book was sitting there staring at me. And if you're not familiar with this, Joseph Campbell and The Hero with a Thousand Faces, I know it's backwards on there, is actually where they'll talk about the hero's journey and basically all the myths and all the stories that we watch, the stories that we love, they sort of follow this pattern where the hero sort of reluctantly crosses a threshold into another world, into a world where they get transformed and they go through trials and they have to overcome. And I think that this happens in our own lives more than we realize. And when we're standing at the threshold of something, it can look really, really scary to kind of want to keep taking a step forward. We're not sure, even if that's something like a whole new job that looks like growth, or it looks like, no longer, putting boundaries in relationships and no longer putting up with things that we don't want to put up with. Like that aspect of how do I do something I've never done before? It can feel really unnatural because we've never done it before, right? So in my case, I look at that and say, what do you need to do to be successful? And in these, and you'll notice in stories too, you need mentors and helpers. You need people to cheer you on. You need people to reflect back. Sometimes we need people just to notice our strengths, to notice what we do really, really well. And because it's hard to see ourselves objectively. And I want you to think about that the next time you're sitting with your head spinning around and round, telling yourself some story that may or may not be true. So if you're not familiar with Brene Brown, I may have mentioned her already, but I will probably mention her again and again. But she does talk about a stormy first draft or a shitty first draft of what when we're engaging in the world and stories that we tell ourselves. And things can happen to us, and the lens and the patterns of our thinking that have come before, we interpret it a certain way, and we might react and respond to things based on the story we're telling ourselves, when really we have misinterpreted the other person's intentions. We've misinterpreted what's going on. And so, crossing a threshold of actually engaging in communication with people in a different way. If you look at any of Brene Brown talking about this, she talks about how in her company, they will use the phrase, the story that I'm telling myself is this. Like, this is what just happened. You didn't show up to the meeting on time, and the story I'm telling myself is that you don't respect me. Because that's how that goes, right? We come up with these conclusions. And so if you're going to try and make change in your life, there becomes a threshold that you realize you're kind of piercing, the edge of where you have been comfortable, the edge of where this is who I am and this is how I operate. And then you sort of cross over into a new place of this is who I want to be and this is what I want to do. And when you do that, I hope that you have people cheering you on, supporting you, and helping you. And if you're doing that at this time, or choosing or interested in doing that in relation to creating a school, a homeschool, or educating yourself, then I encourage you to reach out to me and create your own school, because that's the community we're building, a community of people who will help you with your own journey, your own hero's journey to become the person that you want to become. And now you want your family and everybody to be educated. So that's my word for tonight. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow again. Thanks. Bye.